What's up, y'all? Matt here with Blackstone Shooting Sports on another edition of On the Range. Like I said, I'm Matt.
Hey, I'm Emily from Blackstone. Tonight we have Joe and Mitch from Cardinal Arms here to talk a little bit about their product they have with their company.
Hi.
What's up, guys?
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
You want to introduce yourselves real quick, and which one's Joe and which one's Mitch? And what do you guys do?
Yeah, I'm Joe. I'm the head engineer at Cardinal Arms.
And I'm Mitch. I'm the gunsmith at Cardinal Arms.
He's the head gunsmith.
I'm the head gunsmith at Cardinal Arms.
Oh, nice.
What's the official title that Tony gave you?
The Quality Control Gunsmith Master.
Yeah, that's it.
Ooh, that's good. Totally unrelated. I did a job shadow at monster.com with the CEO, and his official title was head monster. So pretty
It's
sweet.
pretty good.
All right.
Be a
So
title.
monster.com aside, tell us about Cardinal. How long you guys been in business? Where you located? What do you guys do? Kind of give us the whole spiel.
Well, Optimum is our actual name, and Cardinal is our trade name. So Optimum MFG was started in 2019, and they started off as a parts business and has slowly morphed into something else. So we're located in Mooresville, North Carolina, about 45 minutes up the road from here. And it's just been an interesting ride to where we are right now. But basically, the company started out building parts. Slides, I think, was what they really started doing. And then as customers wanted more and more things, the company made more and more parts. And then eventually, we started building pistols. And here we are today.
Awesome. So what was the turning point where you guys decided, hey, we're going to build our own handgun?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's a turning point, but obviously we do a lot of work for other people. We make a lot of parts, a lot of finished pistols for other people, and we wanted to do something that was our own, kind of our own perspective of what this platform can be. So I'd say probably, I started with Optimum in 2023, August of 2023. So we'd probably been at it probably 6 months when we decided, hey, it'd be fun to make our own thing.
Yeah.
And we just kind of played around with different ideas, different names of the company, right? We didn't even have a name for what we wanted the company name to be. So probably 6 months into that, we had just started that, and we came up with a bunch of different ideas. And I don't know, we probably had 3-4 different designs before we kind of came to this style of gun that we wanted.
I guess the history, there's a little bit more. So because Joe came on later on, I came in 2021. So the company had started off, there are 3 guys that had gotten together, and, for one reason or another, the company really was doing very poorly. And it got to the point where the company, for the most part, died. And 2 of the people that had originally been involved with it, they had left the company. And myself and the owner, the last owner that stayed on, I kind of told him hey, look, I'm in this for as long as you want to do this. And if you don't want to give up, I'm going to be right here with you. So at that point, it was trying to find the right person. So with what we do, we have to have the mix of because we make parts and we've got machines and we have to have an engineer. And that's super crucial for me because I can't build guns without parts. So we had tried. We'd had a couple of different people come in, and it was a whole lot of missing. And then as I started working with Joe to help, solidify blueprints and models and to try to work with what we were having, I kind of got the feeling that he might want to work with us. And then I let my owner know, and he sought Joe out. And then, he came on board a couple months later, and from there, it's just been that the company was more or less resurrected because once we had lost, the other people that had started it, you really had to find the right fit to keep it going. And when we brought him in, made all the difference in the world. So,
yeah, I mean, I think it clicked pretty quickly. Me and Mitch both had similar perspectives of what we wanted to do. We didn't want to do it, we wanted to do it the right way in general, building the company. We are both perfectionists. It definitely slows you down being a perfectionist, but it also kind of gets you to a better end product. So it was a good balance of, Mitch's gunsmithing experience and his, understanding of the platform, and my understanding of the machining, the engineering, and the design side of it. And it was very quick. It was very quickly understood by everyone, like, this is going to work.
Yep.
I mean,
Cool.
So, like, in that time frame, how many guns have y'all made?
oh, I don't know if we can do exact numbers, but as far as like
You
guns
said-
that we made,
As
or
far
guns,
as firearms that have left our facility, over 500, but it depends on what you're talking about. So, we also work with a lot of other manufacturers. So we make frames and slides. So we're an '07 manufacturer. So we have variances with other manufacturers, and we produce their serialized frame. And then we also will produce their slide and small components and all sorts of other things like that. So when it comes to real numbers of like how many serialized firearms have left the building, a lot. Off the top of my head, I'm really not sure.
But like y'all's gun, y'all's design like we have here today.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, that exact
of
gun.
that exact gun?
I mean, it's
The G2.
double digits.
Yeah,
but
double
not
digits.
by much.
We're at 30. Like I think we're on 32.
Yeah.
if
I
I
mean,
remember correctly. The batch that we're building right now, we have the next 15 that are in process right now. So
Fun fact, this serial number is 007,
Yep.
which just makes me feel cool.
yeah, the owner's personal.
That's the owner's personal gun. I mean,
He very graciously allowed us to shoot it. So appreciate that. So since this is the G2, was there ever a G1?
yeah, there was. So I mean, the G2 stands for something, and I mean, I'll just say
Can it be shared what it stands for?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, we're both, me and Mitch are both Christians, and we realized like, hey, we're kind of starting this company over again. So we were going to call it the Genesis, but we were like, there's so many Genesis like guns in the market. There's a whole company named Genesis. So we wanted to just say, hey, G2, it's kind of edgy. It's the second Genesis of, Optimum, if you will.
It is, yeah.
That's cool. Oh, I didn't know that. So talking about names, how'd you guys come up with Cardinal Arms? We were kind of talking about that. It's a really neat name. But,
Yeah.
Let's hear the story.
So, I mean,
Painfully.
once we knew we wanted to make a gun, we knew we had to have a name. And, we're both from North Carolina. Mitch is from North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina. Actually, Robbie, the owner, is also from North Carolina. So we wanted to kind of have an homage to that and say, okay, we don't want to call it North Carolina Guns or something, but we wanted something that showed where we were from. So we were spitballing names and ideas. I don't know. I was texting Mitch. It was probably 100 different names,
Yeah.
and I don't. Mitch, I found he's very particular in what he wants and what he likes, and finally,
Good quality for a gunsmith.
yeah. I mean, I was just Googling random things, chat GPTing, whatever I could come up with to try to be creative. And then it just popped in my head, and I was like, look, Cardinal. Cardinal is the state bird of North Carolina. Cardinal is also like the cardinal rule. They're cardinal guns. They're the best guns. They're principal guns. So it kind of has a multiple meaning to it. And we just liked how it rolled off the tongue, Cardinal Arms. It took a little while. I was
it
getting
really
pretty
did.
frustrated, I'm being honest.
Yes, he did.
But once we found it, I was like, Mitch, this is it. I don't
Yeah.
care if you don't
we
like
both,
it. We're doing
well,
it.
actually, we both liked it. And
Yeah.
like once it was there, we're like, all right, yeah, that's it. It really was kind of funny because we wanted to take the Optimum name because, the in a certain sense, we don't want to compete with any of our other customers. So we wanted to separate, what we were doing from what we build with other people versus what we're putting out underneath our own name. And it's a way of demonstrating the quality of the parts that we produce, but it's not Optimum, it's Cardinal. It's the same license. It's just we have a trade name.
Yeah.
And it's cooler. I mean,
It's cooler. Yeah, it's a better name.
It's definitely cool.
like to me, as we have the Cardinal lasered on the side. You can get a better logo for a gun, I think,
Yeah.
with a Cardinal than I don't know what an Optimum is. So I don't know.
No.
So working with these other companies, do you think it helped you kind of like get a better base for what y'all wanted for a gun versus what everyone else has?
I think it helped us learn. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look, when you work with other people and collaborate with other people, obviously everyone has their IP, and we're very protective of our customers' IP. We didn't use anybody's IP in this gun, but we also just kind of learned, oh well, if they're doing this because people like this, let's take our own spin on that, and see what our gun looks like. So I mean, we saw lots of people coming out with busy designs that are difficult to machine. We wanted to do that in a tasteful platform and really show the cohesive design work that we can do because we make the parts. You can then take the whole design platform and put it together so it looks like it was designed to be together. And it was, right? Like from the beginning, every part that we designed went on that gun so that the design view is the same through the whole gun. So the grip matches the slide matches the frame. There's checkering that goes all the way down through the frame and through the slide, and it looks like it's tasteful, which is our goal.
Yeah. So I wish y'all could like actually hold this firearm because it's incredible. Emily, would you kind of tell us a little bit about what was it like shooting it? They talk about everything they put into making this kind of complete package. How does that translate into shooting?
So for me, I'm still like kind of new to the 2011 world of things. Definitely not what I'm used to. As far as like trigger pull, how heavy is the trigger in these?
Between 2 and 2.5 pounds, just
So
depending,
it's like
but closer to 2 most of the time.
smooth, like stupid smooth. Just in general, like the grip of the gun. I like the rougher texture of it. I'm a bigger fan of actually like feeling like I'm holding a gun, but it's not like so heavy.
Abrasive.
Yeah. So it's like nice grip, good weight to it, super balanced, really light when it comes to the trigger pull on it. Like perfect, I think. Pretty good.
And the reset on that thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just like, you can't even explain it. Cool. Yeah.
Definitely smooth shooting.
Yeah, very, very smooth. So kind of talk to us about this machining process, right? Like I got to tour your factory. It was super cool. Machines like as big as houses are in there. So, you talk about putting all the pieces. What actually is made by Cardinal?
Yeah, so on this gun, we make frame slide, ambi, safety,
Slide stop,
sight plate, and I don't think we make that guide
the
rod.
magwell.
So we do not currently make the grip. We have a partner that we work with on that. We did help design the grip and work with him on that. Yep. Everything was designed to blend together so it's an easy gunsmith situation, but I think it's pretty much barrel and grip and fire control set are the main things we did not dive into machining for this.
Yep.
Why did you decide not to do that?
There's other guys out there that do a very good job at it, and it's like a kind of there's some elements inside of this industry that are niche, and if there are people that have got it figured out and we can get their product and we can get it reliably, like that's what we want to put in the guns, because we want to put it, if they're doing a better job than we can do it, like I'd rather pay them and put their part in it than try to do it myself or put a substandard part in the gun.
Is that one of those things y'all are eventually going to like move towards trying to learn how to do or learn how
Possibly.
to perfect?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I'm like barrels is a perfect example, right? Like, the top manufacturers in this industry, like very few of them make their own barrel because if you do that wrong, it's a bad day, right?
Fair enough.
People have gotten in trouble with something going wrong in the manufacturing process. So for us to do that takes engineering time, manufacturing time that we didn't want to allocate towards that right now, right? If you do that wrong or you do the fire control set wrong, it's not great. You can have some serious issues. The gun won't feel right, and it could be dangerous. So in order to do that, we allowed some of the partners that we have to provide us the parts because they have that engineering experience of years and years of making a darn good barrel. I think that's a KKM barrel. We've really enjoyed their products. They do a really good job with that barrel, and we use other barrel manufacturers as well, and we trust them to give us a good product.
Cool. That makes sense. So talk us through a little bit about the manufacturing process. How does this start, right? Like, is it just a hunk of metal and it turns into a gun, or basically
simple,
how
right?
does it work? Do you just snap your fingers?
You just throw it in the machine at the right angle.
You load the blueprints in the machine.
And then it pops out. Blueprints go in the side. Yeah.
I can't tell if you're joking, actually.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, that's kind of a machinist joke there, because most people are like, oh yeah, you just hit the green button and out come the parts, right? But all the parts that we make start from billet steel. So billet steel means block, right? A block of steel. So we order the steel, we specify the specific type of steel depending on, what the component is doing. So you choose the steel, choose the hardness or the temper of the steel.
Sorry, is your steel American?
All American steel.
Cool. So you're not too stressed about the tariffs right now?
Nope.
No, not really. I mean, I'm sure pricing might hit us in a few areas, but to be honest with you, I don't know if I welcome the tariffs or I don't really care,
Sure.
because we're making it here and we're protected by using that American steel.
So American steel. All right. Then you choose the hardness.
Yep. So some of the parts get sent out to get, heat treated before. Some come in heat treated already. Some we heat treat after. It depends on the part and how we want to machine it. We do mostly milling at Optimum. So milling is essentially, imagine a really big drill press that moves around really quickly. And then we have machines that are 5-axis machines. So it's a drill press that then can rotate and twist the part. So you can present the part to the fancy drill press in an angle and get into cut different features. That's my best possible
Layman's terms?
explanation. Yeah.
How big are the machines?
So the machines we have, the platform that they machine on are 500 millimeter platforms. So in American terms, that's
Freedom units.
Yeah, Freedom units. That's 19 inches, I believe.
Yeah.
Ish. And the machine itself, though, is probably 15 feet by 20 feet.
Oh, wow.
So you have this tiny little area that you're machining in, but this massive amount of mass. And the entire point of the mass is to keep the cutting tool as rigid as possible.
How much does it weigh? How much do they weigh?
Close to 20,000 pounds, probably.
Dang.
I mean, they're between 10 and 20,000 pounds, depending on the machine. So they're not light.
No. And, with that level of precision, how much of what we're looking at is CNC'd in a machine? And then how much is then taken and fitted by hand, or,
Sure.
What happens by hand?
So I would say almost every part on there has some kind of hand polishing or hand fitting done to almost every surface on every part.
Really?
So
Wow, that's impressive.
The only piece that I told Mitch he couldn't touch is the magwell, because I wanted there to be some tool marks just to be like, hey, we did something from a machining standpoint.
That's my least favorite part, by the way.
So
The magwell.
There we go. All right.
see, always underappreciated over here.
So with that being said, and having all that put into the gun, how long start to finish does production of one take?
So if you told us today,
including, so you got to think, so every gun, it goes through say from a piece of steel to a final product. Depending on the part, you've got 2 or 3 operations that the part goes through, And then after the part goes through those operations, then it's going to go through a QC, it's going to be QC to make sure that everything is what it's supposed to be. No, a lot of that is done in process as well. And then it's going to go, and we're going to have to every surface.
Yeah.
We're removing every single tool mark that we can find on the gun. So that in itself takes it. We put more time into the prep of the surface of the gun than we do of the build of the gun, because it's just that involved. I mean,
It's not even close.
yeah,
Like,
it's crazy.
Prep that's the biggest time suck
Yeah.
in the gun.
And tuning.
For
So
sure.
if
Really?
one were to order one today,
Yeah. So if like you're to say, hey, next batch, start a timer, and then when it comes back from coding and is assembled and brought, it could take. This is Mitch's kind of. It could take a month.
Yeah.
It could take 2 months if like something goes wrong in the coding process or something goes wrong in the machining process, because you can take a part and 99% of people could look at one of our parts and be like, that is beautiful. And then, this is, a fraction of a hair off.
Nope.
Scrap it. It goes in the bin. And then you could even have a part that measures perfect. Like, this thing is perfect. And then it's like, oh, nope, it has this cosmetic blem that you could only see when you twisted it in the light and the machinist missed it because he didn't blast his parts. And, he just missed one. Yeah, that's going to take too long to fix. Chuck it.
Wow.
A different way of saying it, though, we try to, as we've changed our manufacturing process as we learn and grow. Like, it's always like trying to figure out how we can do things better. So a lot of times we try to prep the parts before the actual build starts. So I like to have my frames and slides and all the parts that go into it. I want them almost at a completed state before I actually do the mechanical build of the gun. So that if there is a flaw of some sort, I catch it at that stage before I build the gun and then have to start all over because I found something that I didn't like. But if you were to give me parts that were like in that stage, I could probably build the gun mechanically and do the blending and all that kind of stuff in an 8-hour day. But the amount of work that's going into that gun before that is easily that much time. It's probably more than 20 hours, would be my guess.
just to
I mean,
make
like-
it perfect to y'all's standards. So like it could
Yeah.
work perfectly fine, but if there's
Oh
like
yeah,
a,
mechanically
Yeah.
making these guns it's not very difficult. I mean, like once you understand the concepts of it and what you can and can't do, and you have parts that fit together the way that we're machining them so that they do fit together the way that we want to. But it's the fit and finish is what takes so long. Making a gun mechanically operate the way you want it to for it to be a reliable firearm, that's fairly simple. What really gets into it is all the fine details that we want to get into, so that you're getting a gun that when you look at it and you feel it, you're like, okay, now I understand why I bought this, because they're expensive. But if you're going to buy something that's that expensive, like, I want you to pick it up and like feel happy with your purchase. I mean, it's one of those things that, gun people have a lot of, affection towards their firearms. They make personal bonds with them, so we definitely want, whenever the people get them in their hands, that they really do appreciate what they have. So.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point too, because we'll talk about this in a second, but these are really expensive firearms. But especially when you hold the G2, there's like, I don't want to be dramatic, but there's like something kind of special about it. And I think it's that level of detail and perfection you guys put into it. I don't know what it is, but just like, and I'm not really that great of a shooter. I'm a layman at best, but just like it feels special to me. And you can't really, you have to kind of see that, I think, to really understand it. But like after shooting it, holding it, I'm like, yeah, I totally get what you guys mean.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we wanted, right? Like when we went through the design, there's so many different guns out there. Like, how do you stand out? Well, when you're making a gun this nice, like you almost have to have the goal of, like, I want to create a piece of art that is going to create an emotional response in my customer. Yeah. And that, like, it sounds almost too much for a gun, right? But that's really what we were after, is because we're putting our heart and soul into that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been very long, frustrating days and nights, and, you think you got it, and then the part comes back and you're like, that won't fit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we got to do it again. So, this is our perception of possible perfection, right? Like we're pursuing perfection, and this is kind of our first try at it. And we're hoping to get even better and better as a company, and continue to have our people pursue perfection together.
Well, you're always chasing it. I mean, like, there's no such thing as perfect. You can pick up any gun and like find something wrong with it. You always can, if you know what you're looking for. But for us, it's trying to catch everything that we possibly can, and it's tough, but it's fun and it's very rewarding. Like whenever the guns are done, and you put them together, and you get to fill them. It's like, all right, that's a good day. I love putting the guns together after they come back from coating. Like coating in itself can be a nightmare. We have a wonderful coater right now, but whenever they come back and you're putting it all together and you get to feel I'm doing all the final tuning and everything, and you feel the gun, you're like, all right, then you feel good. When you're shipping guns to customers or to our dealers, it feels good because, I'm excited for them to get them in their hands, and the feedback's been great so far. So
yeah, for sure. So whose call was to polish, I don't know if that's the right word, but polish the slide?
Yeah, so it's kind of a brushed polish, right? That was mine. I begged. I mean,
well, the frame was what you got me.
Yeah. The slide, we were going to do the slide. Yeah. Like I think we both kind of agreed. And then the frame, if you look at the gun, it has kind of a connected polish shape to it, where it really ties the gun together. And me and Mitch kind of went back and forth, and I was like, you have to polish the frame. Like you have to. It will tie the gun together. It gives it that last little bit of pop. It's harder to polish that because there's curved areas, and you don't want to hit the checkering in the wrong way. But yeah, I'll take some credit for that.
Yeah, he did.
But obviously, I didn't have the skills to, do it like Mitch did.
So that's done by hand? Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's meticulous. It's fun. But it's also like, in this industry, like when you start looking at these high-end guns, like some of them are pretty. I mean, like I feel kind of funny saying that sometimes, that I make pretty guns, but like it's artistic in a certain sense. And like when you get to this point, it's also like you're just demonstrating skill. So whenever you see that, like that's whenever you put one gun up next to another gun, like when you have those polished surfaces, they pop and they look good. And for us as the manufacturer, like they also present a challenge, because when you send something to coating, like you're completely at their mercy. And something that's completely out of their control sometimes. A flake falls in a chamber, it gets on the gun, it comes back, guess what? You're going to be completely redoing that entire part. And sometimes, you could actually deadline the gun, because whenever you're sandblasting, if the tolerance go out and I'm not pleased with the frame and slide fit after I'm done with that, guess what? Got to start over. I mean, and that can happen. That's one of those things that, or say you're at the coder and they drop your gun. But anytime you're playing with a polished surface, it's so easy to have a mistake happen. But, it's part of the game, and the final product is definitely worth it. So,
Why did you guys decide to do a 2011 or double stack 1911? We can't say 2011 anymore. Why did you guys decide to do that instead of anything else?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of what where the company was at.
That was where the
right?
company was at. Yep.
When I came on board, we sat down, and one of the first things we did was like, what are we going to do? I mean, okay, we got a lot of business, quote unquote, and what are we going to do? How are we going to shape this company to work? Because, as Mitch said, it wasn't really working. They were kind of doing a lot of different things. So we had good business in the double stack 1911 side of things. And it was like, you know what? This is a good area of the market right now. Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of demand. And there's not enough people doing it well, right? For the higher end side of things. So we were like, I think we can fit in here and really, help push this industry along. And we had a good collection of talents. Mitch obviously knew the platform really well. I knew we could, design the components and get them right with time. And it kind of just worked that's what fell into our lap. So we just took everything else and said, this is what we're going to do.
We had a customer base for it already. We didn't have a problem selling parts. The problem prior to is making parts to the standards that they should have been made. The consistency, and that was what the company had struggled with prior to. So like really when it came down to it, I mean, like the 2011 slide, a lot of people don't know this, but the majority of 1911 double stack 1911 slides, many of them come from out of the country, and they're brought in the country. So there's not a lot of American made slides. And
Really?
that is one of the things that we do, because
It's way less
from
than
start
you
to
think.
finish. Oh yeah, way less than you would
Like,
imagine.
Wow,
you
that's
could
crazy.
probably name the amount of people machining U.S. made slides for other people on one hand,
Yep.
and then machining period in the U.S. It's probably 2 hands.
Yep.
Wow.
So I mean, this isn't like there's who knows how many people machining AR-15 uppers, right?
Yeah.
They're everywhere. There's not that many people doing those. The slide specifically.
Yep.
I would imagine that's where it makes it like more of a unique thing too, to where it's like, okay, y'all may not realize it, but this is where this stuff's being made at. And then you have y'all specific gun where it's like, it's so local and
Yeah.
so like it's in your backyard and we're here doing it
Yeah.
versus like you're getting what you get with it.
Well, the platform is a wonderful platform too, and like us making the frame and the slide, those are the 2 main components of the gun that are critical for everything else. And when you control those 2 parts, that's where all the other magic can happen from it, because all the designs that you're putting on the slides and on the frames, like for them to match correctly, like you already have to know what barrel you're using and where your barrel is going to lock up at and where it's going to sit, because you have to adjust all these things when you build the gun so that everything lines up correctly. So having that for us is like a huge advantage, because like if I have a problem, I'm going to him and saying, hey, I don't like this. We need to move this. And there's a very good back and forth of, I complain a lot because I want to make sure that what we're doing is exactly the way it's supposed to be. If there's something that I don't like, he's going to hear about it,
He's shaking his head a lot.
He is the best complainer.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's a
Best
very good
complainer.
back and forth though, because like,
it's super important,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Like lucky for Mitch, super people pleaser, so I just have to make everybody happy. And Mitch comes to me with complaints daily probably, and it's like, hey, if you could tweak this, I would be so happy, and then I'm obliged to help. But I think that tandem, us working together on that has really allowed us to progress really quickly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very quickly from having nothing as a company to like, hey, we're making really good product.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he
So when did
knows
the
what it
first
should be.
prototype get made?
How did it get made?
When?
September of last year.
Yeah, September of last year.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean,
Here's the thing though, we're already making a lot of firearms. This isn't our first endeavor in this double stack world. We've made plenty of them. It's just whenever we decided we wanted to make our own twist on it, we already were set up and ready to do it. So
True.
it was very easy for us to, transition a new line of product of what we make and make something for ourselves. So
It's kind of like you knew the ins and outs, but then it was just like, but this is ours.
correct. Yeah, because that's we look at stuff that you see people post online. Just it's comical a lot of times. But one of the things that you do see with a lot of people is they're like, people want to know like what you are and what you're doing and how do they get there. Like there's this unknown company. It's like, sure, yeah, Cardinal Arms is unknown in the sense of like, you've never seen that company before. But
there's no sign on the building. Like,
Nope.
it's a
Yeah.
black building.
Yep.
I mean, I had to tell you like, hey, we're there. There's cars in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And it's kind of we kind of like the clandestine
Yep.
feel to it.
Yep.
Because that's what it's supposed to be. Our focus is not like on having a beautiful storefront. Like that's what Blackstone's for. Our focus is making those guns as well as we can.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a couple more questions.
Yep.
Okay, so so we talked about everything that went into one of these firearms. Never mind. I didn't want to go there. I changed my mind. Sorry. Okay, so we talked about how you guys have why you guys decided to do the 2011 platform, double stack 1911 platform. Why do you think that this platform is so popular? Especially, I feel like the double stack 1911. It just feels like that's exploding right now. So, why do you guys think it's just such a popular firearm?
My personal opinion is that it's a combination of two things. And I was talking about this off camera earlier. It's the mechanical accuracy potential of the gun, how accurate the gun can be made, and the way that you can adjust the trigger and how nice of a trigger you can get, how repeatable it can be. And then just because it's a steel on steel frame and slide and the tolerances you can get together, the way that gun can feel whenever it's made correctly, it is just, there are very few shooting experiences with a handgun that are as nice as the double stack 1911 or 1911, both. I mean, when you have a gun that's built correctly and you go out and you shoot it and you manipulate it in your hand, I mean, you can feel it. But again, I mean, it really boils down to me as the mechanical accuracy potential of the gun. It's very high. And then just what you can do with the trigger. I think that once they figured out on this platform, specifically the double stack, once the magazines got ironed out and they really fixed the flaws with the magazine and understood how these things work together, because that took time for them to really get that down pat. It's the same way we're 1911s have been teaching people how to clear malfunctions for over 100 years, right? Like the design has some problems to it because there's a higher level of knowledge you have to maintain the gun. Like it is not as simple as a Glock. I could buy a Glock, never clean a thing, go out, beat the heck out of it, and it's going to run all the time. This gun is not the same platform. It is not. You can't treat it the same way because it has. It's a different design, and depending on how tightly the gun is built, you're going to have different things. But specifically, why has the double stack made it the way that made it as far along as it has? I think it's the accuracy potential and how good the triggers feel, and then couple that with how smooth and nice the gun feels in your hand. I mean,
to me, it's that coupled with the all metal frame to slide fit, right? The things you can do to tune it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do a lot more to tune it than you can like a Glock. Like there's just more going on mechanically with it. I think the other thing, the reason I think it's blowing up right now specifically is, I think people are really appreciating how much work is going into these, and they're tired of like, oh, I can just buy another $400 gun, or I can buy, one of these and really, really appreciate it. And it's kind of a move to appreciating high-end artisan, gunsmithing.
Yeah.
I think just to, from a patriotic standpoint, right? It's all American, made right here in North Carolina.
Yep.
And this is a thing that I would give to my children, and their children would give to their children, and it would be
it's heirloom quality.
Yeah, heirloom, exactly.
I mean, why not, right? Like that's
it's not
what
one of the
guns
ones that
supposed to be.
you would buy, and then a couple months later be like, oh, well, I think I'd rather have this and just get rid of it. It's not one of those types of guns.
Especially,
I mean, the guns that got passed down through generations, like they were metal woodstock guns, or maybe you'll see plastic Glocks getting handed down through generations, but like to me, that's going to last the test of time.
For sure.
Those types of guns will last the test of time because they feel good. Everyone's going to love them. It gives you that emotional response to it.
Yep.
That's what you want to hand down to your great grandchild, not.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with a Glock. Like we all carry Glocks and enjoy them. But if you're going to buy an heirloom piece,
yep,
that's the type of stuff you want.
Yeah, me and Emily were talking. Our home defense and carries are Glocks, but
the cow gun.
Yeah, hers is an extra special one. But there is just something kind of extra special about this. It's almost like, I feel like this is an obvious thing, but it's like the work truck that you drive every day and depend on and gets the job done versus the Ferrari that is $1,000 oil change and you only want to drive it when it's sunny, but when you drive it, it's awesome.
Yeah, it gives you that like,
visceral reaction. Yep. Cool. So where do you think this platform is going to go? Right. I think in general, I'd be interested to what you guys think about the double stack 1911 going forward in the future. But then specifically for you guys, are there going to be different barrel lengths? Are you guys going to port it what are you guys thinking in terms of the evolution of Cardinal and where you want to take the double stack 1911?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big things, and you're already seeing it as far as just the manufacturing and the parts. If you were to go build a 2011 right now, I want to build my own 2011, sourcing the parts for that is a nightmare. Like, it is an absolute nightmare. It's what makes starting a business in this industry so hard. And I think you're starting to see people realize that. And you're starting to see more like kit type stuff come out. And I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see a lot of people want to I want to build my own 2011, which I'm all for, because if you build a 2011, you will understand how hard it is to build a really good 2011. So I think you're going to see a little bit of that coming through. As far as what we're going to do, we've already been asked to add ports and comps. Everybody wants ported and comp guns, right? I know Mitch has a few dreams that he's going to make me do. We'll leave those up to suspense, I guess.
Okay.
We've got more down the pipeline for sure.
So we have things that we want to do that, again, kind of show off what we can do. But we'll leave that for a future time.
Cool.
I think you're going to see cheap. There's going to be there's already starting to be a flood of cheap double stack guns that are like this, and I think that's actually great because it gets a lot of people in, because the price point on these guns is a barrier for a lot of people for sure. And then you're going to see the mid price point guns, and then you're going to see the high end guns. And I think that what you're going to start to notice over the next 5 or 10 years is the people that are in the lower price point guns. Maybe that's going to get their interest into it. They're going to start to find out, hey, there's a lot of lower quality parts inside of these guns. They're going to break more frequently. They're going to have a lot more reliability issues because of that. They're not going to be built correctly. They might still run for a period of time. And then maybe they step themselves into some of the mid-tier guns. And then when people really truly dive into it, that's whenever they're going to want to start to pick up something like this. Because if you touch this gun and you fool with one of these and you go full with a gun that costs $700, you're immediately going to be able to tell that there is a stark difference from one gun to the other. It doesn't make the gun that costs $700, any less fun to shoot per se, but it's a different experience.
Yep.
And I do think that a lot of people that own these, they own more than one of them. They tend to collect quite a few of them because once they kind of bite that bullet and pay the price for one, they're like, oh, well, now I want another one, and now I want another one. So we certainly see that. There's a lot of people that own a lot of nice 2011s or double stack 1911s, and it's pretty cool. But I don't see them going anywhere. I mean, they've made their entry into the competition market as well, and
there's not that
they
many.
stand out for that reason.
We have heard that a lot, from people the 2011 market is getting saturated. There's not that many high-end 2011 manufacturers. There are a lot of people trying to get into the game, but even the amount of 2011 manufacturers, they're not putting out that many guns.
Yeah.
You got your big boys in the game, but if you think about it, there's 1 million Rolexes sold a year. There's not 1 million 2011s. I understand.
Someday there will be.
Yeah, but there's a lot of demand for well-made products.
Yeah.
And these definitely are that.
Yep. Cool. Well, that was awesome. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on the range here, guys.
Thanks
Again,
for
we
letting us
got
try it out.
Joe and Mitch from Cardinal Arms showing us the G2. It's been a blast talking to you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we can't wait to see what you guys come out with next. We do have this in store and online at blackstoneshooting.com. But really, check it out. It's an incredible firearm, and we had a blast shooting it and talking to you guys. So thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.